Sit back and throw one back with your pinkies in the air and a middle finger to the world. And join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, as we look back on this day in professional wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe, and give us a big old thumbs up. And now, without further ado, let's look back on this day in pro wrestling history. It is February 11th, and we're going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1935, Cowboy Bradley. 1964, he's the baddest man on the planet, Ken Shamrock. 1973, it is the Hispanic Superman, Hernandez. Of course, on the flip side of that coin, your pro wrestling deaths for February 11th. 2017, Chavo Guerrero Sr. Alright, you know I don't like the sad stuff, so it's time for your pro wrestling history highlights for February 11th. 1942, Tarzan Lopez defeats Black Guzman in Mexico City, Mexico to win the NWA World Middleweight title. 1944, Roland Kirchmeyer is recognized as the first NWA Florida champion. He would lose the title 15 days later to Ed Strangler Lewis, who would hold it for 2 years before losing it back to Kirchmeyer. Fast forwarding all the way to 1969, Dory Funk Jr. defeats Gene Kiniski in Tampa, Florida for the NWA World Heavyweight title. Funk would go on to hold the title for over 4 years before losing it to Harley Race. 1970, Worldwide Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion Bruno Sammartino and Gorilla Monsoon defeat Ernie Ladd and Waldo Von Erich in a Texas death match in Boston, with boxing greats Tony Galento and Tom McNeely as special referees. 1983, Giant Baba defeats Harley Race in St. Louis, Missouri for the Pacific Wrestling Federation World Heavyweight title, starting his third reign. The belt is now part of the All Japan Triple Crown. 1984, Tito Santana defeats the Magnificent Morocco with a sunset flip for the WWF Intercontinental title in Boston, Mass. And fast forwarding all the way to 1996, WCW held Super Brawl 6 at the Bayfront Center in St. Petersburg, Florida. This is the famous show where Kevin Sullivan defeated Brian Pillman in a strap match in which the winner could only be declared when the other wrestler said, "I respect you." After a minute of fighting, Pillman suddenly stopped, took the mic, and said, "I respect you, Booker Man," and walked out. This was part of Brian Pillman's shoot/work in WCW to establish him as the loose cannon, referring to Sullivan's real-life position as Booker in WCW, before walking out on the match. Arn Anderson came out and took Pillman's place in the match, but after a few minutes, Ric Flair came out and convinced Anderson and Sullivan to stop fighting. The birth of the loose cannon. Short but sweet, but those are your pro wrestling history highlights for February 11th. I'm the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.